Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Shemal Shai B'Shem Rakakwada. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video. It's going to be relatively short. I'm going to title this video Elijah John the Baptist controversy. So I was watching. I didn't get a chance to watch this whole thing, but I watched some of it. This is one of the individuals that was a part of the ICGJC. Now he said he came in 93. I'm sorry, was it 93? Right. He was in this thing in the group from 93 to 2013. So we're talking 20 years. So he had to have come in as a relatively young man when I was still a part of the school. So I don't know if I ever met him or not. But I'm right here at the 15-minute, 22-second mark. And I'm going to go in maybe around about the 20. Let's see where I go. So basically, he's saying, as you're going to hear, that Abba Bivens is not Elijah. You know, he said Elijah came, but Abba Bivens is not Elijah. So now my question is, do they believe in reincarnation? He made another statement. He said they had a thing going where they would say these are the guys, the top leadership and the teachers of the main school at One West were men in the past. They were the prophets in the past. Well, isn't that scriptural? The Most High was going to, the prophets of the Most High today are the same prophets that were back there in the past in different bodies having different names. But the Spirit, it tells you in 1 Corinthians 14, I believe it's 32, the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets. Meaning, you're going to always come back in your lot. That's also in Daniel 12. Speaks about Daniel coming back in his lot. Let me do that. Let me do this. See, what we've been doing and we've been forced to do is go back. Really, we're going back to the basics. A lot of this controversy has come from basic scriptures, you know, basic stuff. If you're a part of GMS, you should really know this. If you've been in this thing for 6 months, a year, you should know this. It says 13 verse, Daniel 12 verse 13, but go thou thy way till the end be, he's talking to Daniel, for thou shalt rest. And rest meaning Isaiah 57, the first verse, the first two verses, rest in their bed, rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. So we know rest is talking about death. Let's go check that out real quick. Rest. The word there is nawak, which means like comfort is another word too. Right, to rest, settle down and remain, to repose, have rest, be quiet. So now let's go here. Right, and the ark rested. Let's see what precepts come up. You can rest, meaning lay down, rest, relax, or you can die. Rest in the spirit. Okay, let's see what this says. Job 3, verse 13. For now should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept, then had I been at rest. So we know that rest is talking about dead, the spiritual realm. There the wicked cease from troubling. What's the there? The death. And there the weary are at rest. If you're weary, you die, you're at rest. Nobody burns in hell. I want to see if Isaiah 57 comes up. It should come up. Yep, there we go. Isaiah 57:1, the righteous perisheth and dies, and no man layeth the heart, and merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. He shall enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, everyone walking in his uprightness. So rest means death. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest. You're going to die and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. So Daniel is here or recently died or whatever the case may be. And stand, let's look up the word stand now. To stand is to be erect, right? Resurrect. The word there is imad. To stand, remain, endure, take one stand. To stand, take one stand. Because if you rested, you were dead, and you stand up, that means you're resurrected, right? Resurrected meaning the thing being erect, standing up. So you're resurrected two ways. You can die and be raised from the dead, from that same dead body, like a Lazarus, or you can resurrect by being born again in a new body at another time. So Elijah did come back in the person of John the Baptist, and it said he didn't read Matthew 17, where the Lord spoke about Elijah coming back 2 times. So I wonder if they believe in. Let me find this. I wonder if they believe in reincarnation. So I'm gonna let y'all hear this. I'm not gonna make this too much longer. This is the 15-minute, 22-second mark. So listen up.
You know, my other 2 brothers. So let's start with some doctrine. Okay? It's well known that in the ICGJC, they believe that their organization was started by Abba Bivens. Okay? So let's go to the book of Matthew.
Which it was. which it was. Even though he came out of the commandment keepers and came up in the learning. In other words, Abba wasn't just going to come from the sky and I'm Abba Bivens and my name is Abba and I'm here to teach. No, he had to come up. Didn't it speak about in Galatians 4 that you come up under teachers? So prophets came up under men. Elisha was the understudy of Elijah. Elisha didn't come into his greatness really until Elijah passed. He asked for a double portion of his spirit, right? So, another good the apostles, the disciples that became apostles under Yahweh Shai, right? Did they know that? Did they understand the laws and the prophecies to a certain extent? Yes, they did. They came up under their teacher, John the Baptist. Now it says in Matthew 11, which the brother quotes, he's Matthew 11, where it says, "If you will receive it, this is Elijah which is forth to come." But merely paraphrasing, I'm going to go to it. But the least of them shall be greater than him. He was talking to his disciples that they were under John. John was great, but you're going to be greater than John or greater than Elijah, meaning when the kingdom is established, you're going to be over Elijah in that order. Even though Elijah taught you or John taught you first. John the Baptist disciples, he had 3 disciples that the scriptures speak of. James, John, the brother James, and Andrew, the brother of Peter. Peter came in after Andrew. So the order would be James, John, and Andrew, but then the order wound up being Peter, James, and John, because Peter was that first spirit. Peter being on the throne, sitting on the number 1 throne as David. Peter is David. David got the keys to the kingdom, and Peter got the keys to the kingdom. There was another king that had to be David again, receiving the keys to the kingdom. So we have the keys to the kingdom. The keys to the kingdom is the knowledge of this truth for us to enter into the kingdom if we teach this word, if we're diligent. So let's listen.
Malachi chapter 4. And let's read verse 5 and 6. And let's kill this lie. Okay? Malachi chapter 4, verse 5. It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers."
Another thing I noticed, he's got his hat covered. I don't know if he doesn't believe in, he's an Israelite. I don't know what his stance is, whether he still believes he's an Israelite or he's just a regular man on the earth. He don't know who he is, or he's a Christian, or I don't know his whole, like he said his name, Karab, which is spiritual sword. He says, I don't go by that name no more. I just use it in reference to, if I'm talking about this, that was my name back then. So I don't know what these guys are doing. I don't know if they believe that even though Tazadakia led them astray, do they still believe that they're Israel, or did they throw all that in the garbage? Scripture said, "Let no man take your crown." So you can't blame it on Moses, because he taught, well, look, the truth is the truth. Whether a wicked man if a wicked man says you an Israelite and that leads you on a path to find a school and becoming an Israelite, it started with that wicked man that made the statement. Paul spoke about being a castaway, and I went through that in the previous lesson. So you can teach others and wound up being a castaway.
To the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Now let's identify the major.
Lisa come and smite the earth with a curse, meaning he's going to smite the earth with a curse, which is this destruction that is currently coming. But Elijah had to come first. 2 times. He had to come as John, and he had to come in this current time to restore the fathers to the children, children to the father. That had to be talking about this time, meaning let's say within this 100-year period. It had to be a current individual that came on the scene. So if it's not Abba, then who is it? That's my question to y'all out there. Is it some rabbi from Israel? Is it Elijah Muhammad? Let's listen on.
Your major problem with this verse being attributed to Abba Bivens. Matthew chapter 11. And let's look at verse 13 through 15. And this is what the king said. He said, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And I love the way he started this next verse off right here. He said, and if ye will receive it, this is Elijah which was for to come. They don't really receive that in there the way they're supposed to receive it. Because if they did, they would not be claiming that Abba Bivens is Elijah the prophet. Christ said, he that have ears to hear, let him hear. So now, the problem is, like I said, Christ already identified who Elijah the prophet was. He came in the form of John the Baptist. But let's look at Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6 once more. He says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And Elijah the prophet more. John the Baptist, Elijah the prophet. Here. So is Elijah the prophet to receive it. They don't really receive that in there the way they're supposed to receive it. Because if they did, they would not be claiming that Abba Bivens is Elijah the prophet. Christ said, he that have ears to hear, let him hear. So now, the problem is, like I said, Christ already identified who Elijah the prophet was. He came in the form of John the Baptist. But let's look at...
Meaning that John the Baptist was Elijah in a previous life.
Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6 once more. He says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers. So this is letting us know that when Elijah came, he would be doing the teaching. Right? So now, let's go from there and let's look at the book of Luke.
Of John the Baptist.
Chapter 1. I'm going to read verse 16 and 17. Let's see if anything was left out when Elijah the prophet showed up on the planet Earth as John the Baptist. It says, and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, just like it said in Malachi, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. So now the king has spoken. The king has let it be known who fulfilled the prophecy in Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6. But yet and still, you got the ICGJC teaching this lie that that Elijah the prophet came back as Abba Bivens. Now, some people may not know that there's a history in that organization of people of today or this time claiming to be somebody else from the past.
Yeah.
Okay? That was going on, right, because you know about Masha. Okay, they claimed that Masha was King David. That was a doctrine in that church. Yep. A lot of people that's in there now, they like New Jacks or whatever. They don't know this history. Okay, when I came into the organization, that was the doctrine, that Masha was King David. Now the ICGJC, they don't subscribe to that anymore, but yet they still holding on to this Abba Bivens crap. They still claiming that he is somebody that he wasn't, because Christ said that John was Elijah the prophet. Now, if you and I,
you notice he didn't say Yahweh Shai, because I don't think he goes by, Yahweh Shai is not his name, Yahweh is not his name. I don't know if he still believes he's an Israelite or not, whatever, but he said Christ. He said Christ. So they were pushing that name Christ a lot. Matter of fact, ultimately they said, well, we don't know the name of the Lord. Yahweh Shai is not his name, and Bun Yahweh, then we don't know the name of the Father. Hey, that's Matthew 13, verse 12 and 13 all over again. Like I said, I don't know this man's stance. I don't know if he still believes he's an Israelite. I don't know if he still teaches. I don't know if he still calls on the name Yahweh by Shemel Shai. I don't know what he's just going by what his experience is of being in that school for 20 years. Which meant when King Marshall left and we left with him, he stayed with the school. So
ICGJC, excuse me, if you and the ICGJC still want to force Bivens to be somebody, now y'all got to explain, why did Bivens move from Philadelphia to Harlem to study under Rabbi Wentworth Matthews? You got to explain that now, okay? Rabbi Wentworth Matthews was a rabbi in that organization called the Commandment Keepers. He was taught under Rabbi Arnold. I'm sorry? Did you say something?
That wasn't me. I don't know who. I was just trying to.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But just
the volume seemed to have dipped.
I turned it down a little because he was distorting real bad. I could turn him back up a little bit, but there was real bad distortion.
I'm sorry.
So I did turn down your volume.
I'm talking too loud.
Well, no, he's saying now you're low, but there was a lot of distortion. So, audience, let me know about his sound levels. The audience is really helpful on that. I'll turn it back up a little bit and do what I can, but maybe it might have almost been too close to the mouth. That might have been an issue. But hey, listen, everybody coming in, I know you don't see my face right now, but this is the beginning. We're going to get interaction after this. Hey,
this guy, vocab is nothing but the Vlad. What is his name? DJ Vlad or whatever his name is, Vlad. He got all these jakes spilling their guts. He's the Christianity version.
We have a panel of 3 guests, 1, 2, 3, one of whom the audience has actually not even met yet. All former Israelite Church of God and Jesus Christ members. That is the original One West flagship organization. They are what ISUPK claims they are. But the ICGJC just has a different name. That's the original One West school, began in 1969. And what happened is I let leadership of the ICGJC come on, and they said different things, and I let them speak, asked a little bit of questions, and the former members wanted to respond. And so now we're letting them do that, and very shortly, after Jerome wraps up, we will get into some interaction between the panelists and take your questions as well, because this is very important. I know this is very niche, but listen, if you're going to be equipped to deal with Hebrew Israelites of all types and stripes, it's important to understand ICGJC, because regardless of if other groups know about them or recognize them like they should, to be honest, within their religious framework, whether they know that or not, this is the most important One West group that's ever existed. They're not the most important now as far as their current numbers. I understand that. but everyone must understand how important this group is within the history of this movement.
Yeah, they're not important or significant now because the spirit pulled back. Ariah ain't in there. Ariah's up in age. Ariah's, probably sickly. Shaw is not really in the leadership. I don't know. So they got these new guys in there. I don't know what's going on. Well, you got Basil and the rest of them that did a video. So, but the numbers have dwindled dramatically. They're not on the highways and the byways. They don't have, for years they hadn't had any videos put up in the name of their organization. Recently they started back and they teaching, Joseph and Mary never had sex. They're teaching that there's a hell. So that's clearly not the right spirit. And then in their name, ICGJC is Jesus. ICGJC. The JC is Jesus Christ. So we don't, just that word came about, as we said in previous videos. That's the J. There was no such letter as a letter J in the Hebrew. So why would you call him? That's what I'm saying. Look, I'm out of here, man. I might as well go back to the Baptist church.
Movement. The mic is yours, sir.
Okay, yeah. So back to my point. The Bible tells you that Elijah the prophet was coming to be the teacher. Okay, he was going to be the one to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to their fathers. But yet, when you go into...
But didn't he do that? And bringing these congregations together, telling them that they're the Israelites? Didn't he do that? Of course he did that. And he taught them the truth. And he went into the New Testament. Because Wentworth and all the Matthews, they didn't bring, they be talking about them today. You had guys saying we're disciples of Wentworth and Rabbi Matthew and this guy and that guy. The key guy is Abba. So he has to be, John the Baptist coming back, Elijah coming back. He has to be. Because Elijah was going to come back 2 times. First as John, then as who we claim to be today. Or who there has to be a man identified as this is Elijah coming back. And me, myself, if I'm at the end of the day, if I'm truly a prophet, one of the elect and a prophet, that means I was one of them individuals in a previous life as a prophet. The spirit of the prophet is subject unto the prophet. This is all basic stuff.
History of Abba Bivens, which is out there. He left Philadelphia. He moved to New York to study under Rabbi Wentworth Matthews, who studied under Arnold Ford. Okay? So he was supposed to come and do the teaching, not be any man's student. Because him as a student, this is Elijah the prophet we're talking about now. Him as a student, now we got to wonder, well, who was Wentworth Matthews that he taught Elijah the prophet? And then we got to figure out, well, who was Arnold Ford that he taught the teacher of Elijah the prophet? When Elijah the prophet came as John the Baptist, the Bible tells you that the Lord kept him in the wilderness until his day of his showing to Israel. He wasn't nobody's student. Okay? So now, again, that would be like, this is a man that got the spirit of Elijah the prophet in him. Okay? That would be like today for the ICGJC, who you claim and you still believe that Tazadaki is somebody special and he's the Holy Spirit or whatever. That would be like him going to sit down with GMS, okay, and take notes and learn from GMS. Okay? Ridiculous. It don't make sense. If you want to...
There you go. GMS is mentioned again.
Force this breakdown that y'all teach in that class, in that church, that Abba Bivens was somebody. Now you got to explain why he joined the Commandment Keepers, broke off, started his own church. He fits the definition of what you guys call rebels and antichrist, because he started somewhere and left out and did something else. He did like, Yohana, Tahar, Rakashiyar. That was Abba Bivens. If you still want to force Abba Bivens to be somebody, then now you got to explain why Abba Bivens did not believe in the virgin birth. See, Vocab, when I came into that organization, when I came in the virgin birth, explain why Abba Bivens be somebody, then now you got Abba Bivens to be somebody, then now you got to explain why Abba Bivens did not believe in the virgin birth.
Now, what did he mean by that? That saying that they believe, they were taught that the virgin birth, or the virgin birth. So that believes after they left them. Now, I don't know what his stance is. I don't know if he, as a Baptist, Pentecostal, or just a person. I'm just a person. Inside joke. But from what he just said, well, if he's Elijah if he's Elijah the prophet, why doesn't he believe or teach the virgin birth? He should have taught that right. So I take it, and he can come back and explain himself even further. I take it that the ones that left that still believe that they're Israelites probably still believe that there was a virgin birth, which there's not. That shows you. The Elder Gazak said they were taken over by the Roskis. I'm not gonna say that name. So let's listen to this one more time. So you gotta analyze everything. You gotta be like a lawyer. You gotta look at every angle of everything. So you guys that are sitting there waiting, with your hands in your pocket, holding the wall up, ain't doing nothing, and nothing from nothing leave nothing, right? I'm talking about you guys that came into Israel, man. You got to work. You can't say, well, there's nothing. There's all kind of subjects to talk on. I'm on my second video right here today.
If you still want to force Abba Bivens to be somebody, then now you got to explain why Abba Bivens did not believe in the virgin birth.
He didn't believe in it because it was a lie.
See, Vocab, when I came into that organization, that doctrine of Joseph being Jesus Christ's physical father was in full effect. Where did that doctrine come from? Ariah. Where did Ariah get that doctrine from? Tazadaki always like to remind you how, Abba Bivens bar mitzvah Ariah into the truth. That was Abba Bivens' teachings. So you mean to tell me that the Lord is going to send Elijah the prophet back in this time in the form of Abba Bivens teaching lies? Teaching against the divinity and the holiness of Jesus Christ's conception?
There it is. There it is. So these individuals believe or believe. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what his stance is. I don't know if he personally believes the Israel thing and the version. But if he still believes the truth, he's an Israelite, then he believes. The ones that left off, they still believe, or they believe that there was a virgin birth, that Joseph never had sex with Mary. Remember, they was teaching Joseph never had sex with Mary. Mary never had any children. The other children, the brothers and sisters, which the Catholics say they finally did have sex, but this was a special child. But they were teaching that she never had children. It was called the ever virgins. That those brothers and sisters were cousins. So that's clearly not scripture.
Y'all gonna have to explain that. Okay? It was unnecessary and it didn't make sense, especially when Jesus Christ already explained.
He's saying Jesus Christ. Tyler Dockett said Jesus Christ.
Who fulfilled that prophecy? Now, these are things that you would think would be part of the doctrine from the very beginning, since Elijah the prophet was teaching it. That's what I would think.
So he's saying, based upon that, I'm saying it again, I want to sound like a broken record. He's saying if this guy was really Elijah coming back in the form of Abba, he would be teaching at the virgin birth. That was a heavy demon. That was a heavy spell that Tazadaki put on y'all, man. A heavy spell. Let's listen to a little bit more. I said I was going to be short, but you know how the spirit roll.
When you're talking about the holy conception of Jesus Christ, and something else that was not a part of that doctrine that Abba Bivens taught in the beginning, that a man would come here and be the Holy Spirit. That wasn't the doctrine. Okay? That didn't come until Tazadaki taught us that madness in 2003. That's when we learned about a man. But prior to that, wasn't nobody looking for no comforter? Was nobody thinking about, nothing in St. John, the 14th chapter, being another man coming? But we learned that stuff from Tazadaki. Now, how convenient is it that the very man that taught us anything about the comforter happens to be the same one claiming to be the comforter? How convenient is that? But now, let's look at the book of St. John. Let's talk about the comforter for a minute. Okay? St. John chapter 14, verse 16. This is...
Anyway, I'm going to close. I stopped at... I started at 15 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm at the 27 minute and 54 second of this 2 hour, 23 minute and 12 second video. So, I mean, you can start from there. You can go to the beginning or do whatever you want to do. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.